Now, I am not one to offer advice, let alone to the most powerful man in the world. But if your name were Donald John Trump, now would be the time to release your taxes. Like right now. The argument? Well, practically, New York is about to vote on releasing your state tax returns, which are an echo of the federal ones, as we all know. And as you can imagine, your salty words and salt tax burden on blue states like New York not made you wildly popular. And the fight with Congress does not bode well for you in the courts. And even if you get over that hurdle, turns out 25 states are working on laws requiring presidential candidates on the ballot in their states to show tax returns. And I haven't heard of an under alleged audit exception yet, so that's not promising either. That's the practical. Politically, you always want to control the narrative as much as you can, and that's only possible here if you empower the release of your taxes. The New York Times story raises legit questions about stock manipulation, lies about your income, lies about your wealth, curious income reporting on interest. None of that is good for your brand or your credibility. Some of it would have been softened if you were explaining what people would find. Now, I get the reason you don't want to release the taxes. It's because you know what they do and do not show, and you don't like the story. I get it. I get it better than most, actually, for two reasons. First, I investigated your net worth with a team, a talented team at ABC News. Remember back in 2005? Remember you on the phone with Chris Vlasto? Remember he kept yelling at us, the investigative guru over there? You insisted you were worth billions, but you wouldn't give us any real proof, and we could only find proof of that much in debt? Remember the letter that was from your lawyer, but sounded a lot like you, damning me back to the womb for getting your worth wrong? It was right then, and even more right now. The second reason is you and I share more common history. We were both given huge breaks by Jeff Zucker, chairman of Warner Media News and Sports and president of CNN Worldwide. Looking at the reporting of your taxes from the 80s and 90s and the snapshots we got in the early 2000s, my guess is Zucker giving you that reality show in 2004, that changed your reality. You went from being in the 1% of all losses reported for U.S. individual taxpayers to a TV star who was depicted as the ultimate top 1%er. Now, look, I'm sure you don't like this narrative, but the only way to change it is to show your returns. At a minimum, the truth will come out on your own terms. And there's something to respect in that. And at the end of the day, isn't that why you always inflated your assets? To get what you saw as respect, right? But if you man up and say this has gone too far and it's not fair, here's the information, here are the taxes, and along with it, push for a law that makes it a federal requirement for all to show taxes in a run for the White House, and then a raft of tax fixes to plug some of the gaping holes in the code that you exploited in grotesque fashion. Now that would take up some headlines and get you at least a pinch of respect for some of those that are now looking on and seeing someone who is clearly not who you told us you were.